Owners tell me all the time my dog isn't food motivated, and some people wear it like a bit of a badge of honor, like their dog is special because they don't want to eat the food that they put down or the treats that they bring out on walks. So I'm yet to meet a dog that isn't food motivated, and usually it comes down to a system and how we are delivering food to our dogs. Ultimately, like who cares if your dog is food motivated or not? Like why do we care? Why is food so important? Food is like the simplest way of providing reinforcement for your dog. There are other ways of doing it, and you can use play, you can even use sniffing and usual typical stuff that your dog would do on everyday walks as forms of reinforcement. All of that stuff is super useful, and all of that stuff does work. However, it is far easier to be more transactional with providing food as a reinforcement for a good choice made, as long as that's paired with a good marker, especially for behaviour change in reactive dogs or dogs that are kicking off at other dogs. Far easier for me to communicate to the dog in an effective way, you did the right thing and here is your piece of food as your reward. With food, I can reinforce multiple times quickly, so think of it as paying out £50 worth of reinforcement in one piece rather than giving you the £50 note at the end of the session and saying, like, yeah, that was pretty good. I can incrementally provide reinforcement and feedback to the dog throughout the session with food. I like using play in recall repetitions. Like it's a really good one for you being the most exciting thing in the environment. Aside from that, I would typically use food for most things. Right, there are a few reasons why you may think your dog is not food motivated. Like the common ones being you're trying to provide your dog with food as a distraction when your dog is already reacting to, say, another dog, for example. So your dog is not in the physical or mental state to be able to eat in that moment because it's too concerned about the stimulus that it has in front of it, whether that be dog, people, whatever. So that can be one reason. Your dog is already in a state of overwhelm while you're trying to shovel food into its mouth as a distraction. No good. This isn't a case that the dog isn't food motivated. This is the case that you're trying to provide food in a arousal state that is just not going to work. Another reason could be that your dog doesn't actually like the food that you're giving them, and if it's a low quality kibble that's just kind of crap, like they could probably take it or leave it. This also on the flip side, if you're constantly using high value treats whenever you do training, you can find yourself on the opposite end of the spectrum where if you don't bring out something of high value enough, then your dog's kind of like, I'm not working for that. Like usually you bring out the good stuff. So you have to be a little bit careful with that. And I think in an ideal world, we use meals as reinforcement. I use a lot of pet pate because it's just meat, and I think it's something good to bring into the dog's diet. Doesn't tend to aggravate stomachs, but it's not kind of just cheese or cocktail sausages or something that it's not really appropriate to be giving every single day because it's either heavily processed or super high fat. But the most common reason that you people who say that your dogs aren't motivated by food and wear it as a badge of honor, you treat your dog like a grazing animal. That is a cow that grazes all day. Behind this little door, there's a horse that my son broke, also a grazing animal. So we don't have a grazing animal, so we have one of these. You like these props, don't you? Predatory animals, feast and famine. If I take your dog from its cushy life where it has the abundance of food, like why would it work? Why on my dog walk when there's loads of competing environmental stimulus? There's other dogs, there's other people, there's smells, birds, sounds, water to jump in, whatever it might be. Why would I want the ropey old kibble that you leave on the floor all day, every day, that I can just pick and choose when I want it? This is like your boss coming to your house just before you're about to go to work, so you're about to set off on your commute, and they dump your whole monthly salary on your countertop and say, "There's your money. Like, might see you later, might not." I know what I'd do. Probably say, "You probably won't see me today because I've got an abundance of cash that you've just laid on my table. Why do I need to go to work and try and earn some more?" So we're not talking about deprivation and starving your dog, but your dog can wait 24 hours for a meal. Like there is no reason to give your dog breakfast, lunch, and dinner. A few like simple fixes that you can add in, like right now. Feed your dog once a day from a bowl. Better still, hand feed your dog a lot of their meals so that they're having to do some work for it. And that doesn't need to be difficult work. It can be sits, downs, paws, nose touches, whatever, just so they can earn a bit of their food. Scatter feeds for sniffing. So again, working, foraging, using their nose. using the gifts that God gave them. 15-minute window to eat the food. If you don't eat the food, I'm going to pick the bowl up regardless if you've eaten it or not. Bowl goes away, doesn't come out until the next day, and then open windows of opportunity to earn reinforcement through training, which again can be taken from their share of food for the day. Move some things around, use that food motivation as leverage to get behaviours that you want or change behaviours that you don't want. I hope you found that useful. As always, for behaviour concerns, drop me a message or go to my website, which link is in the description.